Are you a Christian songwriter wishing you could be heard by the right people in Nashville? Yeah, we get it. You've been writing for years, but you have no idea how to be heard, how to get your songs out there, or how to connect your talent with opportunities. You feel stuck and wonder if you'll ever get a real break. NCS Bootcamp is your chance to be heard by taking your songwriting to a level you've only dreamed of. It gives you hands-on, personalized coaching and mentoring to help you think and write like a professional Christian songwriter determined to impact the world with your songs. If you're ready to empower your songwriting dreams, go to NashvilleChristianSongwriters.com/bootcamp to book your free songwriting breakthrough strategy call today. Become the songwriter you were born to be with NCS Bootcamp.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Song Revolution podcast, brought to you by Nashville Christian Songwriters. Nashville Christian Songwriters exists to empower Christian songwriters worldwide. I'm John Chisum, and this podcast exists to bring you valuable songwriting insights, inspiration, interviews, and just all around good fun with some of the greatest songwriters, producers, arrangers, artists, and creatives, and beyond. You can find out a whole lot more about us at NashvilleChristianSongwriters.com. Hey everybody, it's John. Thanks for taking some time to be with me here on the show today. I love this show. I love bringing you great people to listen to, people who will inspire you not only in your songwriting, but just in the way you live and the way that you worship, the way that you approach your spirituality and your relationship, even with yourself. And today is a very, very special day for me because I've been following Andrew Ripp for about 3 years. I just discovered him on iTunes one day and was immediately engaged with him. His music is infectious. His Southern roots, gospel, soul, pop, acoustic blend is very, very cool, and I really, really love. I love his music, and I've loved it over these last few years. And I just knew that if I ever had the chance to engage with Andrew and interview him for the show, that it was going to be great, and I am not disappointed. I sat down with him today over in East Nashville, and we just had a great time. Instant friends. The guy is just so genuine, so awesome. He's got a lot of great things going on, including a brand new baby girl surprise that happened on Thanksgiving just a few weeks ago. I'm surprised he even had time for me today. He is in that new daddy glow, and he talks about that on the show today, as well as his almost 11 years of sobriety from alcohol. And he talks about his relationship with alcohol through the years and how God delivered him instantaneously. And it's just a great miracle story. And just about spirituality and about just how the real thing happens for him in songs and songwriting and independent artistry. And if you're not familiar with Andrew, I invite you to take a few minutes to run over to Spotify or iTunes or YouTube. Check out his brand new EP called The Heart, which is basically half an album. He's planning to finish the next half, The Soul, in 2019. So basically doing an album in halves, which is kind of an interesting idea. I love the brand new music. Of course, I love everything he's done. I'm kind of a fanboy when it comes to Andrew and his music because he really exhibits what I teach with Nashville Christian songwriters, and that is a lyric forward kind of an approach where his lyrics are very clear, very understandable, strong hooks, both lyrically and melodically. And it's just the right kind of deal, man. It just touches my heart. I don't know, maybe it's just me, but I think that you're going to really, really enjoy not only Andrew's music, but Andrew's interview with me today here on the Song Revolution podcast. So, hey, just like I did today, sit down for a little while with us and make a new friend with Andrew Ripp. Andrew, man, welcome to the show, dude.
Man, thanks for having me. I really appreciate it.
Man, I've been looking forward to this for a long time.
Right on, brother.
Yeah.
Right on. I haven't done many podcasts, so if I sound like an idiot, I'm just shooting off a disclaimer right off the top.
Yeah, there you go.
But thanks, man. Yeah, I got there's just been a lot going on in my life. It's nice to slow down for a minute. So thanks for having me.
Well, deep breath.
Yeah.
Chill.
Let's have a little meditation
I know,
session.
right? You know,
Find
hold
a
our
comfortable
little
place.
our index and thumb together. And you know what? I found you on iTunes.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. It's like,
What's iTunes?
I don't know, 3 years ago or something. And
Yes.
just cruising through the tunes, and there you were, man. And I just became an instant fanboy. And
Wow.
just, you know, the thing I love about your writing is it's just so lyric forward, you know, it's like, and your music's unbelievably great, but I don't know, I just kind of resonated with where you were coming from.
That's cool.
In your songwriting. So we can talk about that later in the show.
That's the hope for a songwriter, man. So thanks for saying that, you know.
So you have an amazing bunch of stuff going on, man.
Yeah.
So where do you want to dive in?
It's the wildest time of my life. I mean, I'm like, we've been my life has just blown up in all the best ways over the last month. I mean, I'll just tell you you want me to just tell you the story?
Dude, just share your heart, man.
Man, my wife and I, married 9 years now, 5 years ago, decided we want to try to start a family. And it was just a long kind of season of that not going as planned. So 4.5 years ago, we start to really dig into the idea of how beautiful adoption would be for us. I mean, it's something that we'd talked about since we met 15 years ago. I mean, I remember in one of our first conversations, Carly and I were like, man, that would be really fun. Like, you know, when the relationship begins to get serious enough to talk about kids. So maybe like a couple months into our relationship, we're like, what would it look like if we adopted one day? And we were both really excited about it, but cut to, a month ago, like 2 weeks before Thanksgiving, we get a phone call from an adoption agency that we had met with previously and hadn't really moved forward with the paperwork. We were just kind of like slowly, kind of dipping the toe in the water kind of a scene. And we get this phone call from this social worker that we had connected with in this meeting. And she was like, hey, there's this couple about an hour north of Nashville that's getting ready to have a little baby. And I think that you guys would be a really great match, but I haven't heard from y'all. Like when you go through adoption paperwork, there's a lot. It's just like a book that you have to fill out, which is great. We want, the kids to be in a safe home. So, I mean, you got to get to know the people, but it was just a lot for us to be filling all of that out with everything else that was going on in our lives. So she called and we hadn't done much of the work yet, but she told my wife, she's like, hey, if you'd like to be considered for this family that I think would be a good match for you, see if you can put together like a profile, like a one sheet so they can get to know you, and I'll send it in with a bunch of other ones. And that's kind of how this works. So Carly stopped everything she was doing that day. This was 2 weeks before Thanksgiving. Just stopped everything she was doing that day and filled out this, she went above and beyond. It was probably turned into a 10-page, just like, final exam kind of situation. Like you hand in this packet at the end of the semester. But she did it in 24 hours and cut to the Saturday before Thanksgiving, we got a call from the social worker saying that they chose us.
Wow.
I mean, we were just like sob factory over at the house.
I bet.
So awesome. And then she tells us that the baby's due on November 26th. And we're like, that's next week.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So we're like,
you had no idea. It's like it might be months away in your mind.
It could have been, yeah. She could have been 2 months into her pregnancy, but she was 8.5.
8 plus.
Yes.
So this is an open adoption. So like, the family. Oh, that's cool.
They're beautiful people. So we had gotten the call that they chose us Saturday before Thanksgiving. Sunday, the next day, we drove up an hour north and met these beautiful human beings that we connected with, and got a chance at the end to just one of the most incredible moments of my life to sit and pray over these beautiful people that were just, as you can imagine, in a very stressful moment in their lives. And just the peace that came into the room, I am telling you, the Holy Spirit showed up in a way that I'd never experienced before. So that was beautiful. And then we left that meeting And then the next day, the social worker came over to our house just to kind of finalize some paperwork. We had just shotgun through all the stuff. Then she came over to the house just to kind of make sure she hadn't spent much time with us yet. So she needed to come make sure that the house, we weren't, a bunch of idiots. You know what I'm saying?
Hoarders.
Yeah. It's like, oh, maybe we shouldn't let you guys do this.
85 cases of Vienna sausage or something in there. Can't walk
Sausage. Oh my gosh, that's hilarious.
Sorry, hoarders. I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
that's my
I'm
bad.
sorry. That was not politically correct. But
Well, anybody that hoards sausage, it's a friend of mine.
I know,
what
or
mean?
bacon.
Or bacon.
Could work.
Any kind of delicious meats,
Yeah.
really.
Oh, what are those doughy rolls, Mrs.
Oh my
Mrs.
gosh, I don't know what
something's?
they're called, but
You know
I'll
what I
eat
mean?
them. Yes.
Not Miss Swanson, but those yeasty little rolls are
So
so
good.
good. May you make pigs in a blanket.
That reminds me, have you ever had a kolache before?
Yes.
There's a spot in Waco, right outside of Waco, Texas. Every time we tour through there, between Waco and Dallas, there's a kolache spot. If you guys are ever on, I don't even know what that road is.
Man, that just hit me in my kolache spot. I'm
just right into the kolache.
Golly.
Got me in the kolache.
I think you.
It's just like incredible food. There's a spot in East Nashville that we go to all the time too. But okay, back to the story.
Sorry. Back to.
So Monday before Thanksgiving, the social worker comes to our house. We have this great meeting, and then Carly and I head to New York on Tuesday to meet with family for Thanksgiving and do our family Thanksgiving deal. And break the news to the family on Wednesday.
They must have gone crazy.
Oh my gosh. It was so
Because you guys have been trying.
We've been trying forever. I mean, forever. For 5 years. It's a long time.
That's a long time.
That's enough time to like really feel it and go, wow, like question the goodness of God. Question, is he really there? Does he really care? And man, we went through it. But so we break the news on Wednesday. Thanksgiving morning, we get a text from the social worker that that she had gone into labor.
Oh, God.
I mean, are you kidding me? Right after Thanksgiving dinner, we get a text message of this beautiful baby girl who was born on Thanksgiving 2018.
Wow.
Blew us out of the water. I was like, I didn't have words, still don't. I don't know if I ever will.
Talk about gratitude. And I mean, we all have amazing reasons to give thanks, but wow, that just
It just knocked us
tops
out.
it. Yeah.
So we jumped on the next flight, which unfortunately wasn't until the next morning. We couldn't sleep. It was like, we're just waiting to get on a plane. So we went straight from the airport in Nashville to the hospital. We stopped at a friend's house to grab a car seat.
Oh, I gotta have that.
Our friends have a baby on the way. Their child's supposed to be born. I think the due date is January something. So they have all the stuff. We didn't have anything.
Right.
Our house, we rent our house out on Airbnb. And since we were going up, we were like, let's rent the house out. And so the house was rented.
Oh no.
We didn't have a place to bring her home.
Aw.
It was awesome. I mean, it was just
Go to the
hilarious.
hotel or what? I mean, God.
Well, luckily my wife's parents live a half hour.
Oh,
away,
I gotcha. Wow. And I'm sure they were like,
Well, they were in New York. So
oh, that's right.
We went to the hospital on Friday, spent the night in the hospital with her Friday night. And then Saturday afternoon, we took her to her took her home. To her parents' house.
Oh my God.
My wife's parents' house. And man, when we got to the house, just our friends showed up with we didn't have anything. So, and our friends just showed up with, they must have spent $500 at Target on just like all the essentials.
So sweet.
It was just, we felt so loved. And throughout this process, that's really been the thing. We've learned what it feels like when friends carry the weight with you. And the only way to get there is to be vulnerable and let people into your struggle. And if they don't know, they can't lift it. Right? So
Good point.
If you're listening to this and you feel like, oh man, I need my breakthrough. I think for us, the biggest thing was just being vulnerable with friends and talking about it. the more we talked about it, the more the weight would just kind of lift. So yeah, I don't know if that encourages anyone, but I hope so.
That's powerful. I mean, God works through people.
That's right.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So you didn't even have any time to like decide a name. You didn't
No.
you have the baby name book and
No, we didn't have
You didn't
any
know
of
if you'd
that.
have a boy or a girl or when. It's just like,
We got a call in our car when we were going from the airport in Nashville to the hospital. We got a call from the social worker saying, "What's her name?" Because they're doing the birth certificate.
oh my gosh.
So we hung up and we were like, "What do you think about this, this, and this?" And we just, there was peace in it. So we named her Frances Ava. Ava is picked by the birth parents, which we just wanted to honor them.
Nice.
And keep that a part of it. And then later we find out that Frances means free and Ava means bird. So she's our little free bird.
She'll be that all of her life.
I'm like, I love the song, but I think I just like the idea behind the fact that you're a free bird. And I'm telling you, that's just a prophetic deal over our whole family. She's already brought so much freedom.
I bet.
Healing. Like I'm talking to cousins I haven't talked to and maybe ever on text message.
Yeah.
It's just awesome.
Aw.
She's brought so much healing to our family. So she's
good.
just blowing us away. Man.
Yeah.
I don't like, I wish I had more words, but I probably sound like a babbling fool right now. Cause that's what I am.
Just a new dad, man. You just sound like you ought to sound, when God's dropped a beautiful child. And you said it pre-show here a second ago, a new heartbeat in the house.
That's right.
It's
a new heartbeat in my house. And I remember years ago, just, trying to imagine what the sound of like footsteps would be in just running through the house and, things falling off the shelves and how beautiful that was going to be. And having to try to keep a child out of the kitchen cabinets and taking everything out. And like, I just can't wait. And now we're already experiencing the cries and the little noises. And it's just so good. It's just so good.
Nothing like it, man.
Yeah.
Ours is 26 years old now, and it's like still has me wrapped around her little finger.
Unbelievable.
And the minute she popped out, it's like, okay, I'm a slave. I don't know what I'm going to do. Little girls and daddies.
So good. So tell me this, she's 26.
Yeah.
You and your wife have been together for
38 years now.
All right. This is what I've got a question for you. I want to know what the secret is.
He's flipping the tables.
What's the secret? I think we all want to know. 38 years of marriage. Man, that's awesome.
And we were together. I broke up with her once. Worst thing I ever did, when we were dating, and I was like really zealous, and I did the worst thing in the world. And I told her, just consider me married to Jesus.
Yeah.
Man, I mean, what was I? Some kind of martyr or something. I don't know, but she forgave me.
Wow, thank God.
And she's been forgiving me ever since.
Yeah.
And I think that's the one thing. That's the only thing. Forgiveness is the only thing. And we've had a lot of ups and downs. A lot of external forces come against a marriage. It's not always internal. It's not always the big A or, or, not that it can't be, but it's really life mitigates against healthy relationships. Now, the way, culture and the way we live,
it does.
today, and all the pressures to own stuff and do stuff and be more than you really are and all that kind of stuff. And frankly, ministry has mitigated against so many marriages.
Wow.
And I've been in and out of full-time local church ministry, and that stuff can be pretty dangerous.
Yeah.
And we've been through several church breakups, and circumstances have been external circumstances have been the hardest thing, but really forgiveness, Andrew, that's just really it on both parts, she's probably had a ton more to forgive of me than
I'm in the
than
same
I
boat.
ever would of her. You know,
Yep.
she's a rock, and I tell people very openly that I wouldn't be here if it weren't for my wife, Donna. And God has used her to hone. That sounds like she's been hard on me, but she's to hone all the rough edges. But that's what marriage does.
Yeah.
And if you're not ready for that, you know, so that's the secret.
That's
it's constant forgiveness.
Man, and isn't that so beautiful how, I mean, it's complicated. Forgiveness can be complicated and all the major themes of life, but forgiveness is very simple. You know, it's just, if we can learn how to really genuinely go to that place of, you know, how do you do that when you're experiencing bitterness or you're, you know, somebody's hurt you and they don't deserve it? How do you get there?
Yeah.
How do you get there in your heart? I'm asking you.
Oh yeah. Well,
Yeah.
man, you could set me free to preach on that, because it really comes down to judging and judgmentalism. But, you know, when you really, there's kind of an attitude of forgiveness that can be a little bit of, I don't know, setting yourself up as the judge, like, okay, well, I forgive you.
Right.
Setting yourself up like that. But it's really, if it's going to be genuine, it's like death to your ego. Okay, I need more forgiveness than this other person. And I'm you know, does that make any sense
does
at all?
make sense,
So it's
yeah.
like,
That's good.
So forgiveness, I think really from what we've experienced, it's really more a deep acceptance of your own brokenness and of your own need for forgiveness, and then extending your heart and your love to that other person
That's
on a daily basis.
That's a huge part of it, I think, putting it into action. And for me, I mean, this goes, I feel like you could apply this to so many different of those large themes, like even ego or jealousy. It's like when you feel that bitterness or that jealousy, to stop everything for a minute and bring the name of that person up in your spirit and just wait and just until you feel really the love of the Lord for that person. I mean, just silence the voice of whatever the enemy might be trying to come against you with, and just wait until you hear the truth about that person. And I think for me in my marriage, that's been really helpful for me to be able to see her side. What would it be like if I was her in this fight, this argument that we're having? And it's hard to see that perspective if you're so busy telling her how you feel, or him how you feel. But that moment of just like, hold on a second, breathe, let's wait for the Lord to actually be able to speak into this situation. Maybe 3 years ago, I took a step back from just in music, I was really kind of burnt out, and I just needed a minute, and I felt that God wanted me to just rest. And I didn't really understand how to do that, because I was raised to go out and like gunsling and kill it, bring it home. And which is a great thing to learn. However, it needs to be balanced with an understanding of how important rest is, because it's equally as important for me as going out and killing it and dragging it home. So I, 3 years ago, out of obedience, left my team, my management, my publisher, my record label with absolutely nothing on the horizon and total burnt out. Like I didn't have anything. Songs weren't happening. It was just like, I don't know if music's really going to be in my future. But if I want God's dream over my life rather than mine, which was my prayer in that season, then I need to be willing to let go of everything that I know. So leaving that team and beginning this process of learning how to rest, learning how to wait and quiet the noise, man, that has done just wonders in my marriage to be able to see her perspective. We have to learn how to get quiet, you know?
It's tough.
It is tough. Especially the last 2 weeks now, I got a little crying baby in the house. I can't sleep. It's wonderful though. Let me tell you, about 3:30 in the morning, pretty much every single morning, when you're up and you're holding the little sweetheart and you're just like, wow, the TV's off. There's no social media in my hands. And I'm just in this dim lit living room, sitting on a couch with this beautiful child. And I'm just having these sweet moments with God. that I mean, I've been having sweet moments with God for a while, but these are different. I feel like there's this room in my heart that's opened that you like when you have a child that they hand you the key to, and it's just like, okay, go find out what's in there. And it's just like exploring this new room. It's so much fun.
You know, there's nothing like having a baby sleeping on your chest.
Oh my gosh.
Laying on the couch and that little thing is there.
Oh my gosh.
No, nothing like it. Nothing like it.
I'm so gushy. I apologize to anybody out there that's just like, who is this guy? But I can't help it.
Well, you know what? It's 26 years later and I'm just as bad.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. It's like, it doesn't go away at all.
Yeah. That's encouraging because I hope it doesn't for me.
Oh, no.
I want to keep it there.
We're better friends now than ever. And we never went through like one of those rebellious seasons with her. She was never like that at all.
Wow.
Or that we know of. But she was raised in the church and but still had to find her own way in her faith, you know, which was awesome.
Cool.
It wasn't forced.
We all do.
She was kind of raised with it, and it was just natural. But I'll tell a little story here, and then I want to talk about your spiritual life. But this is my favorite.
Yeah.
I don't know if I should tell this. I might have to edit this out. But
do it.
We were years ago when she was about, I don't know, maybe 8, 9. We were in the car, and this little boy, and we were down in South Alabama.
Oh, wow.
And she was raised down there, even though we're from Tennessee. But this little boy from this little town in Alabama was in the back seat, and we'd been playing out on the river all day long. And we're in the car, and it's kind of quiet. And he goes, "Allie, when did you get saved?" And it was kind of quiet. And she said, "What's that?" And I said, "Well, you know, honey, it's when you ask Jesus in your heart, or, you know, you're born again, or, you know, you become a Christian or part of the family of God." And it was kind of quiet. And then she said, "Well, I do that all the time."
Wow. That's cool.
I thought that was really deep, you know, it was like, you know, from the lips of a child, you know.
Beautiful.
It's like,
she's like, "What do you mean? That's just kind of like, isn't that just normal?"
I know. It's what I love that. You know, it's kind of, we need to lead ourselves to Christ every single day.
That's good stuff, man.
So,
I mean, I'll tell you, just like even hearing you talk about your experience in ministry and having gone through churches that have fallen apart and everything, like that's a really it's a strong testament to your own personal relationship with God, because I think a lot of people that go through that kind of stuff are actually driven away. A lot of my friends that have grown up in the church have a lot of those. I didn't grow up I grew up in the church, but I didn't have a relationship with God until mid-20s. So hearing my friends that actually have had that relationship since they were younger and have gone through some pretty intense breakups with churches and, you know, moments when people sometimes can get in the way and we just get it wrong as human beings sometimes and it hurts others. But to see you talk about your past and having gone through those things and be sitting here today with such a strong faith is a testament to your own personal relationship. That's really cool. But yeah, man, my experience with all of these kind of like, we're talking as two human beings that know relationship with God. So there's like a language that we have that we understand, but I didn't understand that and actually saw it. It almost felt kind of like, when you don't understand a language, it doesn't have any meaning. So it's like, it kind of felt fake to me until I had my moment with God. And I started to understand how important surrender was. I mean, before I met the Lord, surrender was just kind of like a word, like giving up. Giving up is kind of seen as a bad thing in my family. But surrendering something makes room for something else, right? So I felt like, I don't know, the sky just opened up when I started to understand and really lean into these ideas of how, you know, I learned growing up that Jesus was the Savior, and all of these Christian kind of terms of how to explain something that is so much bigger than us. And it took surrender for me to really grasp it with my heart. And then it became real to me. But it was just they were just words growing up. I heard about Jesus. I heard about, but yeah, I don't know if that makes any sense, but it just felt like, I don't know, even still today, I see myself, how would I listen to this podcast that how do I listen to this conversation as the 20-year-old Andrew? And I think a lot of it's just kind of flying over my head. And I hate that because I want so badly for people to experience for themselves that genuine relationship between them and God. And you can't force that on anyone. You can't make that happen. So that's where prayer comes in. And I don't know. I'm still trying to figure this thing out, but I'm so glad that I have a rooted faith now. That's totally changed my life. And now to see God come through with little baby Francis, I'm just like, what is going on? It's just, you can't write them like that.
Yeah.
It's too good.
It's a lot of mystery in all of it.
Yeah.
You know, and when you try to package it up in neat little boxes and hand it out or sell it or whatever you do with it. Yeah. Yeah.
We don't need to sell God. We just need to live and be the fruit, right? I mean, I felt like my upbringing, I had a lot of people trying to sell me something and the fruit wasn't there in their life. So when I was 24 years old and I had my moment where I hit my knees and I was like, I can't do this anymore. The people that came to my mind were the people that lived it, were the ones from my past that like actually had fruit and didn't even talk about it very much. Yeah. Which is where Francis' name came from. St. Francis has that line, preach the gospel at all times and only when necessary use words.
Exactly.
I'm just like, man, oh man. So yeah, I'm trying to be an example of that in my own life. And it can be really difficult, can't it?
Absolutely. Well, you know, you're pretty open about your journey in sobriety. It's 10 years.
Oh yeah.
This year, right?
Yeah.
Congratulations, man. Or will it be 11 next month?
It's going to be.
Was it 10 years in January?
Oh my gosh, it's going to be 11.
11, man. Congratulations.
Thank you.
That is awesome.
Wow.
I know, right?
It felt like we celebrated 10 years yesterday. I sound old. Maybe I am.
But
you'll never know.
I never know. But was that part of the 24-year-old hitting his knees, just coming to?
Yeah, it was. It still took a year for me to quit 100%. But that was when I had my come to Jesus moment, 24, it started a conviction in my heart about alcohol. Mm-hmm. And just like you and your wife, you said you guys had a breakup. My wife and I had a breakup that was the moment where I hit my knees. It was like, I remember when she left, she was the one who left and was just like, I can't do this anymore. You've got so much potential, but the way that you're living is just just whack. I was like, okay, I kind of get it. I can't blame her. I remember looking in the mirror going, totally brokenhearted, wanting with all of my flesh to blame her for everything, but my spirit wouldn't let me because I knew that it was my stuff. So that's what drove me to my knees. That surrender happened, and then suddenly conviction started to happen about my using. And it took about a year, but I remember praying. It was one of the first prayers I prayed. There were two very distinct prayers. One was after I met God, I need friends that know you, because I didn't have any friends that had any relationship with God. So I was like, I can't do this alone. So please bring, I need friends that know you. And it's so interesting. A guy named Dave Barnes called maybe 2 weeks after I started praying that prayer. I didn't know who Dave was. He's a songwriter in Nashville. I was living in LA at the time. And he had heard a song of mine and was like, hey, I think you're awesome. Can you play these shows with me? And I'm like, I don't know who you are, but this is awesome. Let's do it. And within, 6 minutes of knowing each other, he was one of my best friends. And he loves the Lord. So that was the beginning. And now I look around, it's like all my really close friends have a relationship there. So that prayer was answered pretty immediately after I met God. And then the next prayer number 2 that I really remember getting rooted in my spirit was, I really need grace around alcoholism because my whole family struggles with it. I struggle with it. Now I'm looking it in the eyes, but I can't quit, and I've tried so many times. So it was New Year's 2008 that I remember I was playing a show in Chicago, and my friends kept walking up to the stage, bringing me this flask and kept refilling this flask with whiskey. So by the end of the show, I was just in a bad way, and my family was there, but my grandma specifically was there, and my grandma was really disappointed. I remember a phone call from her, and it hit me. It kind of just, it broke me down pretty good. And so I think there were a couple more nights that I was still drinking, but then January 7th, 2008, I hit my knees, man. And the prayer was just, God, I can't do this without you, and I need grace. And I got off my knees, walked into my my roommate's room and said, hey, if there's any way that you could keep alcohol out of here for a few months, I'm never drinking again for the rest of my life. And I have not even wanted it since then. Haven't even wanted anything to do with it. It had been a part of my life every single day for over 10 years to that point. And suddenly the grace of God comes on me, and I experience grace for the first time.
That's miraculous deliverance right there.
Absolutely.
That every person listening to this who struggles with alcohol would love to have that immediate deliverance from it.
And I got to tell you, part of the lead up to that was what we talked about earlier with how vulnerability can help carry the weight. I was talking about how I was struggling with some really close friends, and I started to share that. And suddenly there was a light shine on that shadow in my life, and it lost some power. And now I get the clarity that I can invite God into this, and I pray for grace, and he gives it to me. Wow. But it started with the vulnerability of like, hey, this is a problem and I need help, and I need to tell someone. I think that's such a powerful thing. It seems so simple and like, I don't need to do that, but it's a very big step in anybody that struggles with any kind of addiction of any sort. Tell someone. Just call somebody up right now and tell them. Wow. Game changing.
Man, that's an amazing story. I want to go back and clear something up just in case my wife ever listens to this podcast. Yes. Our breakup was when we were dating. So not once we were married. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. Just wanted to clear that up that she doesn't get like, what?
Ours was 3 years deep. And then we had 6 months where we were broken up. And then when she came back, I was like, I'm not going to break up with you ever again because that hurt.
Yeah.
So if we're doing this, we're doing this. And we dated for another 4 years before we got married.
Man, that's awesome. Now you were talking about, back when we were talking about the relationship and the fighting or the disagreements or whatever, is that where a song like Let Love Win might have come from?
Absolutely. It's funny, like with themes in songs, I don't really think about it while they're coming out. They just kind of happen. And then you kind of have a moment later where you recognize where it came from. But I think that's what songwriters sometimes miss is they try to write the song rather than just kind of wait for the song to reveal itself. That's not an excuse not to work at it. Like sit down in the chair, write the song. But at some point, I think you kind of just cross into this place where you start to recognize when it's you trying and when it's just kind of happening. And I think the best songs come from that space of just, it starts to happen and you recognize how to just kind of like get out of the way. So with a song like Let Love Win, I honestly don't 100% remember the moment. That was a while ago writing that song. But it's like, I specifically didn't have a story attached to it. It wasn't like I walked in that day and I was like, I'm fighting with my wife. It's just these themes are happening in my life throughout every season. And when you sit down and you just get honest in a song, these things pop out and then you recognize later.
It's so universal though, you know, and that's one of those songs among so many of yours that I can put myself into, right? Yeah. I think that's the real gift of songwriting is when you can have a universality where, it came out of your life somehow, some way.
Right.
but I can find myself in it, come out of my corner and let love win, raise up the white flag.
Yeah.
It's like, come on, I miss
surrender, man.
I miss the feeling of a good long kiss.
That's
and
right.
just so many great lines in that.
Awesome.
And you're just a hook meister and not just the titles, but even the way the lyrics are written. So,
oh, wow.
And again, like I said at the earlier part in the show, it's like, that's what hooked me, because I look for people like that. Now, another person that's like that for me is Colby Calais.
Oh,
and
great.
did you do a little special sometime with Colby?
I did. We played
wine country thing or something?
We played in Napa.
Dude, that was awesome.
Yeah.
But she's like that. Her lyrics are just so well crafted.
She's awesome.
She is awesome.
You know what's cool about her that I have some other friends that I feel this way about too, where it's just like, they're so approachable. I think that's something that when I lived in LA, I got so caught up in being cool, wearing the jacket and the pants
Yeah.
and walking in and like looking good and cool. But like,
Wait, tell me what jacket and pants, because I got to go get.
Oh,
I got to
yeah,
go
you gotta
get
go
that.
get
If I can be cool, I got to go get the jacket.
leather, like that makes you look like, you can kick somebody's butt, and then some skinny jeans.
Yeah.
But that was the vibe. And like, I thought that's what you do, but I came to Nashville and started to see some of my friends that were just being themselves, and how drawn to that I was. And it's just like, I see that in Colby. I don't know her. I've hung out with her
really?
like once or twice. But from what I know of her through friends and just hanging with her a couple of times, she's just very genuine.
Well, I mean, not to go off talking about her, but just people that value the message of a song, whether it's about Jesus or not, but
Right.
where it's not just nonsensical stuff, but it really has a powerful impact, and your songs do that. And I can think of, quite a few that have impacted me. Now
Cool.
you've got this new half an album, which
Yeah,
is
it's half.
cool. So
Yeah.
tell us a little bit about the heart and then the soul coming out after that.
Well, the heart is I was sitting on my couch one night and this theme of the heart and the soul came to mind, because the last few years of my life has been, like I said earlier, just about slowing down, learning how to rest, and learning how to get to just the center of who I am. So I spent a couple of years where I didn't really write or pick up the guitar at all. And when I did and songs started coming out, it just seemed like there was less try on them. There was less of the striving. So when I set out to record, I remember this specific theme, and I think, the theme was just basically like this. I want to release a collection of songs in their purest form. So what I mean by that is, when I go into the studio, if there's any fear of, whether or not people are going to like it, or if there's any comparison or trying to make it sound like something else so it will sell, if there's any of that going on, I kind of devoted this, or I vowed that I would call my engineer in the moment and be like, I can't come in today. Is there any way we can push this till tomorrow? And go sit at home and get that thing out, to get to that pure place of, I don't need to try. I don't need to make this anything that it's not. Let me just put together a collection of songs that has zero me on it and total just like pure spirit breathed. That was the idea. I'm still a human being. I'm sure there's a lot of me on that thing, but I was trying desperately to get out of the way. So that's what it was. And it still is for the soul. Soul hasn't even, there's a couple songs that I've written and recorded. I don't even know if they're right yet, but I'm in the middle of this kind of like unraveling what the heart and the soul is.
You're going to find out with Francis.
Yeah, I'm going to find, I've already got a couple songs.
3 a.m, man. You're going to find out.
So good. I'm so bummed that is Freebird a song?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
I'm as
yeah,
free as a
man.
bird now.
Oh, yeah.
I'm so bummed that it's already a song, because it's a great title.
Oh, yeah. It's classic rock, man.
That's the song.
Freebird.
That's the song everybody screams out at the bar.
It's the one.
Okay.
That's the one. Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't have a specific, like, the heart isn't just heart songs and the soul songs. It's just the whole theme over the entire project is, let me get to the center of God's dream over my life. and get rid of my dream over my life. Exchange it in for what he wants.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. I mean, I want more of that,
Yeah.
and I think we all need more of that,
Yes.
death to ego, selflessness, the real kind of stuff, So you're an independent artist.
I am.
And been through a lot of the Nashville machine over the years, but
Just
finding your way. And how's that working?
It's really good. I mean, the industry is so different now than it was 10 years ago. So I feel we're in a really exciting time for independent artists to be able to release music to the world with the click of a button.
I know, right?
It's cool. You can make a record in your, living room today, and tomorrow it can be listened to by a guy that bought it in Australia.
I know.
That's awesome.
It's amazing.
So we don't need $100,000 to make a record anymore. You just need a laptop.
And some creativity. Yeah.
So, it's been really fun, and I don't know how this is going to work. Like I've only released 6 songs of the heart and the soul, and it's just slowly putting the team back together and seeing what God might have for it in the future. But it's just fun. I'm having a blast. I feel more freedom than I ever have in my music, and I'm experiencing the joy of it rather than every time I'd put a record out in the past. And this isn't a testament to the music. It was just where I was in my life. But I just wasn't really able to enjoy it fully. I still wrote from a place where my heart was. And I think the songs, listening back to some of my songs from the past, and I love them and I'm in love with them. I'm so grateful for them. But I've learned over the last 3 years how to enjoy things, enjoy the process of putting music out, and how, it's really not any of my business as to whether or not people buy it. That shouldn't be a part of my conversation. Let the business people do that and the managers. But as far as an artist is concerned, for me to be able to make great art, I need to kind of put that idea on the shelf while I'm creating it. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, absolutely. How else do you get down to the depths of who you really are if you're writing strictly for those people out there?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I think there are people that can do that well, that show up and can write hit songs just because that's a gift. It's not mine. When I do that, you can tell. Dude showed up and tried to write a hit song.
Yeah.
My stuff works when I get into a space where I'm not comparing and I'm just, okay, what song is in the room today?
Yeah.
Write that thing.
Yeah. Whatever's in the wind.
Yeah. And it might never even take root on any record ever, but that's none of my business. As a creative, I think my job is to just grab whatever it is that's in the room, put it down, and move on.
Mm.
It's
awesome, man.
Yeah, it's really fun.
Well, your music crosses a lot of genres to me, gospel, blues, rock, pop,
totally,
acoustic stuff. But what stands out to me is your heart. And so I love the new EP. Recommend anybody listening just goes and gets it. Spotify, iTunes, wherever you stream or purchase your music. Support Andrew. He's the real deal and got a new baby to feed. So
crazy.
His baby's going to need some shoes.
That just you saying that, I'm just like, wait.
Oh, wait, what? Her name is Frances Ava, and she's a doll.
There's a little video. I don't know if you guys want to see the video, but my buddy Jeff Venable is just such a sweetheart for doing it. He spent a couple days, came over the house, and just told the whole story of what happened.
That's amazing.
So I'll give you the link.
Okay. We'll put it in the show notes, and you can follow Andrew at Andrew Ripp. It's 2 P's, RIPP.com. And do you do the Instagram and Twitter thing? Yeah. All right. So is it
handle is just at Andrew Ripp, RIPP.
Well, if you've enjoyed this show at all today, go just dial in his music, because I think, especially the songwriters who are following what we do here, they'll know what I'm referring to. You just hold the whole lyric forward thing is so absolutely amazing. But man, thanks for being here today. It's just been honored. I feel like we could go another hour and a half or two, but I know you got to move on with your day. And
I hate that.
I know, right? We'll do it again.
All right, good.
All right, man. Thanks again, Andrew. Andrew Ripp.
Thanks for listening in today on the Song Revolution podcast. If you're wanting to take your songwriting to the next level, be sure to jump over to NashvilleChristianSongwriters.com right now to check out all the valuable resources that we have there for you, especially NCS membership, where you can go deeper into a community of like-minded songwriters and tap into encouraging blogs, videos, powerful masterclasses, and a whole lot more to get you where you really want to go. I'll see you next time.